I've been reflecting on the ways that magic has changed me as a person since I started practicing. And some of these were quite unexpected because I kind of thought all of them would be pretty positive, but some of them aren't necessarily straightforwardly positive as I thought. So let's get into them. The first one is that I've ended up with more questions and more doubt about how things work. And I suppose I should say first off that doubt and skepticism when it comes to magic, I think those are healthy things. I don't necessarily think we should just believe that things that happen are totally down to the magic. I think that we need to think of other possibilities alongside the magic. I think that's healthy. But I guess it revealed to me that maybe when I started practicing magic more seriously or more consistently, I kind of hoped for a bit more certainty in terms of what's going on around us, how things work. But in fact, it hasn't worked out that way. I guess alongside that, then it forced me in a way to be able to sit with doubt and uncertainty and get used to the fact that probably I'm never ever going to know with absolute certainty what is going on, why we are here, how all this works, how magic works. And I'm not going to say that that doesn't frustrate me sometimes, because I am someone who likes certainty. I feel safe with certainty, as I'm sure a lot of us do. But I guess it forced me to become more comfortable with the uncertainty. And I think that is probably one of the more positive skills that I've had to develop, given everything else that's going on in the world. I think getting used to uncertainty can stand us in good stead for the future. The next way that magic has changed me as a person is that it has taught me the importance of letting go. This is more related to letting go of the outcome of the magic. And I guess more broadly in life, doing whatever I can, doing what is within my control to change the actions that I can take in the mundane, and then letting go of whatever the outcome is, because I don't have any control over that. And I do feel that if I try and hold on more tightly to the outcome of magical workings, I just tie myself up in knots about it. And I do believe that that can interfere with the magic. I have no evidence to base that on, but I just feel that magic is about sort of letting stuff go out into the ether and doing its thing. And if I'm trying to grasp onto it, I'm just preventing it from doing its thing. And like I say, more broadly in life, learning to let go of the things I can't control, doing what I can and leaving it to whatever else is at work to do its thing. The next way that magic has changed me as a person is a bit uncomfortable to acknowledge, really. It's making me face up to my own hypocrisies. And what I mean by this is that when I come across people that I find it difficult to be around, and perhaps I think to myself, maybe I need to do some magic to try and resolve this situation, I sit and think about what particularly bothers me about a person, and then I think, is there something about them that I don't like about myself? Am I similar to this person in some ways, in the ways that I act and the attitudes that I hold, or the way that I put forth my attitudes, and is their behaviour holding a mirror up to my own? And sometimes that is the case. Sometimes it might be that this other person is just not a very nice person and they do rub a lot of other people up the wrong way. So it's not just me, but also I need to take accountability for my own behaviours and actions. Maybe think to myself, doing some magic more about helping me manage myself around particular people would be more helpful. The next way that magic has changed me is it has lowered my tolerance for people who are not genuine, or perhaps I know that they are BSing me in some way. I was trying to think about why magic has done this, and I think it's because for me, magic is about sort of cutting through to the heart of things and really getting clear about things in order to effect change. So then when I meet people who I feel are just kind of dancing around certain things, or I just don't think they're being real, or they're trying to hide something, I find it really hard to be around those people. I guess they're working through their own thing, and I try not to be too judgmental of that, because we've all got our things that we're working through. But I find that whereas maybe a good few years ago I would have tolerated being around people that I felt maybe uncomfortable around, or I didn't particularly like their attitude, these days I'm less likely to put up with that and perhaps try and distance myself from those people and not be rude about it, not be overtly unpleasant to them about it, but just quietly sort of withdraw and not be around them, and try to spend more time with people that I do actually relate to and that we're on a similar wavelength. Another way that magic has changed me as a person is that it has helped me become more willing to experiment and try things out, step outside my comfort zone. And this has come with looking at sort of magical workings in books and then adding my own flavour to them, tailoring them to myself. One example of this was when I did a magical working for health magic using one of the Psalms. And you could do it straightforwardly from the book, but I added a bit more to it. I added an evoking of Raphael and added a prayer to that, and different paraphernalias like candles and incense that I felt fit in with me and how I like to do particular magical workings. Sometimes I do like magic very stripped down and very minimalist, and there are other times where I do like to add more things into it. So I've noticed that as time's gone on and I've accrued more knowledge about magic and examples of the way other people do it, that I've been willing to try different things out when I've done magical workings of my own. Another aspect of this is the importance of taking time to prepare, not rushing into doing a magical working. Maybe in the past I've not always been someone who has prepared things. Magic was very much right, let's do it, let's just get it done. Maybe because I was like excited to try it. But over time, maybe because I've settled more into it, I've found it more important to make sure I prepare for a magical working, especially when it is something that's particularly important to me. Not rush it, take my time, think about what I want to say, writing things down if need be, being very clear about my intention with the magic. All of those sorts of things I feel have evolved over time, and transferring that outside of the magical space, I think I've become more comfortable in not rushing into things and learning the importance of taking a step back and preparing and not feeling rushed by other people, perhaps. In linking with that last one, the next way that magic has changed me as a person is that I've developed more patience. Now, patience has not been my strong point for many years, and I still struggle with it at times, but I have found that the more magic I've done, I have developed more patience. And this comes with learning to prepare more for magical workings, learning to let go of the outcome, and also trust that what I've done, if it is meant to be, if it's meant to work, it will work. Another aspect of patience is developing patience for myself as a magical practitioner, so that if magic doesn't work, I have the patience with myself to think, okay, what did I do that seemed to work last time, but are there tweaks I can make if I want to do this magical working again in future? What do I need to do? So it's not being too hard on myself, being a bit kinder, and understanding that, magic is an experiment, and you won't learn to refine your magic and get better at it until you do more of it. And it's only until very recently that I have started to do more of it. And so these lessons, I think, have come a lot more to the fore because I've been doing much more magic than I was previously. Let me know what have been some unexpected ways that magic has changed you as a person. I'd be really interested to hear your experience. Take good care, and I'll speak to you again soon.